Aye.
Bob.
There's your
Well,
pencil.
my, what's
How you
going
doing?
come yet?
Who are we waiting on?
What else were
You
y'all?
probably
Mayor,
can't
who
tell
we
much
waiting
about
on?
that.
Mr. Williams.
He is coming?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners,
I think we've been double thinking.
Commissioner Coleman, turn your hearing aid up. That's what that means.
He can't hear you.
I want to welcome everyone today to our joint meeting between the city and the county. And we're getting started a little late. We were hoping a couple more commissioners would filter in, and they may still filter in, but we're going to get the meeting going. And again, welcome to everyone here. Welcome to our, especially to our city counterparts, the mayor and Mayor Julie Hunter and
Like that.
did I say
Mayor Julie Hunter.
Julie Hunter?
You said mayor.
I mean,
Commissioner Julie Martin.
Like that.
It's all around. You
Yeah,
got the Julie
other than
right.
that, you're really
I
close.
have elevated.
Yeah.
No,
Take it.
No, not with it.
So, hey, yeah. What do y'all call the
The pro temp. Mayor pro temp.
mayor pro tem?
But that's Vince.
Yeah, we do chairman and vice chair.
Yeah.
So I'm learning.
Oh, vice mayor's fine.
And Mayor Johnny, I mean, not Mayor Johnny Casey, but Commissioner Johnny Casey.
Thank you.
You know what, I don't get to see a lot of the city commissioners. I always see the mayor. So every time I see somebody from the city, it's the mayor.
Well, they have all the rights and lights like a mayor anyhow, so.
Well,
they-
Mike,
they
you
run like
met the
that.
mayor? I just get
that's the
calling
mayor. I know
everybody
that.
in.
They run like that anyhow, so.
Yeah, so anyhow, on our joint meeting today, we're going to have a presentation on the U.S. Census Complete County Committee, presented by Mr. Thad Wright. And
I'm not that right.
And Pam before Thad Wright.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pamela Thompson, Director of Community Development, and I want to thank y'all for attending this joint meeting. I'm the county's liaison to the U.S. Census, and y'all know Bryn Dice. She's with the city, and she's the city's liaison to the U.S. Census. And we have with us today our census liaison that's going to help us form our Complete Counts Committee and get that going as we roll into 2020 and prepare for the April census. So without further ado, here's Thad Wright.
Yeah, we're going to, I'm going to, Mr. Wright, now that we got you standing up there, we're going to back up and punt. We're going to do the invocation led by the mayor and the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner.
Everybody stand, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day because this is the day you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for gathering us here today.
and bless us as we have the knowledge and the fortitude to make great decisions for our county, for our city, and for the great state of Georgia. And Father, when it's all said and done, let your will be done. These things we ask in your precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chairman, Mr. Mayor, Board and Council, and everyone here today. My name is Thad Wright. I am a partnership specialist with the United States Census Bureau. Every 10 years, as constitutionally mandated, the U.S. Census Bureau attempts to count everybody on American soil. 2020 will be no different. We will count everybody once, only once, and we will count them in the right place. Today's presentation, we're going to go over the overview of things to expect. April 1st, 2020 will be Census Day. So this is for high selected officials, which I think we have here. All right, perfect. Now how to use this. All right, today's focus is going to present the overview of the 2020 census, introduction to the partnership program, and urge the municipalities to form a complete count committee. By show of hands, who's heard the term complete count committee? All right, perfect.
That was a question.
And review the geographic partnership programs and its updates. So why would we want to allocate our time in performing a census and ensuring that we get a complete and accurate count? First one is political power. The Constitution under Title II mandates that individuals within the country will be represented based off the populace and the representation thereof, as well as the allocation of funds for $675 billion to be split up between its 329 million people. Brings us to the money and economical impact. Specifically, census is constitutionally mandated. Census results are plan our redistricting, and billions of dollars are distributed using census numbers. Local government is the key to a successful census. If we look at 2010, the things that we did well, had a good LUCA, which just wrapped up. Many of you have seen the numbers. Some of you have not. Recruiting, which we currently are hiring. So, and we will be the largest employer in the state of Georgia, hiring approximately 10,000 people by the time the census is complete. The formation of the Complete Count Committee. Some may have heard of a Complete Count Committee from 2010. It was a business model that developed through the census. The term itself was coined shortly thereafter. We do a hot wash of everything we've done right during any census, and one of the things we learned was this idea of having the committee formatted by the actual community itself was able to reach and get the highest impact and return on investment. Thus, we've done a business case analysis, and we determined complete count committees are a tried and true method. And then, of course, there will be various field ops, and we'll talk about the PSAP as well as the BAS, which go into the field operations. Majority of our hiring will be done online. It will actually all be done online. We have a mobile van which goes around and will do its fair share of recruiting, as well as Savannah is the major headquarters for coastal Georgia for recruiting. I'm sure we're involved with the Department of Labor here in Brunswick, which also provides recruiting jobs. We have multiple phases, and we are looking for anyone we can really get to come on board. As I said, we will be the largest employer in the state of Georgia when all is said and done. That last bullet says we might need your assistance to facilitate. I don't think we do. I think we're pretty well connected here in Brunswick as well as Glynn County. Optimizing self-response. In previous census, the primary method was the mail-in questionnaire, sometimes called the short form. Our goal has always been 10 questions, 10 minutes. However, the way we do that is kind of changing. In 2020, it will be the first time we ask everybody to respond online. What that means, they will get a total of 4 mailers, and it will ask them to go online. In Glynn County, not too worried about people's ability to get online. We have pretty good connectivity and cellular phone usage. We will come up with some ideas on how to reach out to the individuals who don't have access to that readily, free of charge. Working with the Complete Count Committee on how to do that. But with that mailer, there will also be an 800 number where they can do a remote call-in, and our customer service representative will either help them fill it out or mail them the traditional mailer. As well as on the 4th mailer out, there will actually be the long form attached with self-return envelope. Again, the 800 number and the traditional questionnaire are available as secondary responses. And this is the way that people will actually self-respond. There is still the traditional enumeration phase. We get the most, quote unquote, bang for the buck when people self-respond. If they don't mail it in, they don't really respond to somebody knocking on their door either. So right now we're in the education phase. So it's incumbent on establishing a strong message from a Complete Count Committee, the shareholders within the community, as well as trusted voices to get a proper message out. Try to get everyone to hear it 5 times, see it 7 times. Which brings us to forming a Complete Count Committee. All right. The census, through its business case analysis, has determined that CCCs are the most effective way of actually reaching to the community and getting a response back. The way we shape and inform our Complete Count Committees, if we diversify and we focus mostly on those that are considered hard to reach populace, we will generally get the most return we could possibly get. Hard to reach populaces, minorities, individuals who don't speak English as a primary first language, children under the age of 5, individuals from rural areas, those in poverty, oftentimes those who are most in need of actual federal funding are those who have the worst ability to respond to the actual census itself. What is the CCC? It is a group of trusted voices from the community, appointed by the highest ranking official, develop the activities to raise census awareness among community households and urging complete and accurate count and a timely count. We want to reflect all segments of the community. We want a government chair, a business chair, an education chair, a faith-based, community-based recruitment, workforce, agency, and any unique populace composite that we need to represent here within the community. Large veteran population, something to consider, so forth, etc. So to form a complete count committee, we designate a liaison. The real question is, are we going to do a combined complete count committee, or will Glynn County as well as Brunswick have two separate complete count committees? And I'm not here to help you decide that. But the liaisons themselves will oversee the process and serve as a point of contact within the partnership teams. We will connect our network to your network and make available all our resources and funding that we can, as well as we provide promotional items, so forth, et cetera. We do workshops, which will train up the complete count committee on the tools that we use, and we will allow them to see how to best fit a tailored approach to meet the needs here within the community. We're going to encourage that all municipalities within the area stand up a complete count committee. We'd also like to see a recruitment census liaison appointed first and foremost. We are currently actually far above early operation goals here in Glynn County, so. Encouraging the liaison and the CCC members to attend census tailored training. I will provide a 2-hour workshop. We will train everyone up on the message to get one cohesive unit and one voice. And then issue press releases. This I've seen in Albany, and I've seen in Valdosta, as well as on the state level. It gets the word out throughout the population, has a mass target audience, and raises overall awareness, which is really the key, right? So Luca helped to update the addresses, but there will be new construction which occurs, and that's one of the programs we'll be dealing with here in the next few phases. We also do address canvassing, so we want to ensure that we have a totality of all the addresses throughout the community, so that we can ensure that we have given everyone the full opportunity to respond. The purpose of BASS, it occurs December through January. It deals with delineation of the actual borders throughout the county, throughout the city. This ensures proper allocation based off of the boundaries that we develop and the parcels thereof. I talked about Luca. I talked about new construction. The PSAP program is where we continue to edit and track the blocks. A census tract, for those who have heard of the term, is approximately 4,000 people. We have approximately 75 to 85,000 people in Glynn County. Number may be slightly higher, depends on where you read. That being said, we have 16 census tracts. Through the census tracts, we develop our algorithms for our low response scores, and we determine if the census was done today, what the likelihood would be that individuals would not respond. We find in lower income areas within the community that we reach approximately 31%. I have 5 tracts within Glynn County that are greater than 25%. I have some pretty good tracts in the heart of downtown, which are 14.4. When I say the heart of downtown, I'm actually talking about like Golden Isles area. We have some islands that are historically about 20%. So So how the census thing works. We are currently establishing where to count people. It's an ongoing process, doing the canvassing of addresses, so forth, etc. We will also work with your CCC to determine enumeration for service-based, as well as transient populations. Service-based would be the homeless. Transient populations might be migrant workers. We want to motivate people to respond, which is what the purpose of the CCC itself will do. So it's key and paramount to the next stages. Then we count the population, and then we work with the data and we formulate it, and we present it to First State. That number goes to Georgia in, I think, October of next year, and then ultimately presented to the President January 1st, 2021. And these are the Atlanta regional offices, so forth, etc. Any questions on what's been presented so far?
What were you saying about the low response? I didn't understand that. Do we put on the census tract?
Okay. Great question. Did everyone hear it? The question was, what is a low response score and what is its overall effect within the census tract itself? Again, the low response score is a algorithm that we determine. It's effectively a rate. It roughly relates to a percentage, if you will, of individuals that would not respond if the census was done today. The idea is if we go out to the hard-to-reach population, the low response score areas, and we get those individuals to respond and educate them as to the reasons why they should respond, then we will have educated them enough to get them to respond in the future for the next several censuses. If we don't reach out to them, they're not going to respond this time, and they're not going to respond the next time. So our worst area was 31% roughly.
And where was that? I didn't. You was talking about Midtown, and then I didn't hear you clearly.
Our best areas are around Golden Isles Parkway. Our worst are actually South Brunswick.
So you use the algorithm projecting a 14% response in order to put additional manpower into that 14% area in order to get an accurate count? You certainly don't use the 14% to determine the number of people that
So that means from the low response score, if you would, we get approximately 86% return self-response. From there we go and we do an enumeration, trying to get the door-to-door response better. But as anything, if you start with a bad initial number, you're never really going to get the final product to where you want it, where it needs to be. So we want to do our effort up front to get a high response rate, self-response rate.
Do you have information on how the CCCs were set up 10 years ago and who our community partners were, such as, let's say, the library, because they have access for the public to computers, and maybe they could be a huge advocate of trying to get people to respond by coming in there if they don't have their own internet, PC, and that sort of thing. Do you know how that
So yes, I actually have everything in a program called CRM. The CCC guy, which will be on the back table, available for everyone to take on their way out, will actually delineate most of that information. I can provide that information when asked. Really no concern on that, but this guide itself covers most of what we've seen that has worked very well. So we don't necessarily have to look at past partners. We can apply it to the modern vision we have today.
As you're out in the hitherland recruiting people to work on the census, what kind of pay rate are you paying? Thinking about supplementing county commission's hour.
The actual enumeration and canvassing, so forth, et cetera, plays somewhere between $12 to $18 an hour.
That's what I make as a county commissioner, I can tell you that.
It's an upgrade for us too.
About 3 times.
Yeah.
If you go back a slide or two, if you can, right there. Right there. Commissioner Martin and I was at the Coastal Regional Commission meeting last week, and they talked about these programs here. Local update of census addresses, LUCA, new construction, PSAP, and my understanding is Coastal Regional Commission, and I would suspect all of them all across the state of Georgia, are really into identifying where everybody's located within a community. Have you all, or do you all reach out to CRC and, in an effort to develop your information about where everybody is, or is that up to, would that be up to Glynn County, the individual counties to do that?
So
the discussion that I heard on this thing, I mean, they've really got this thing figured out. It sounds like how to find where everybody's located, and they're updating all that right now.
we will absolutely reach out to
Last week.
Coastal Regional, as well as the rest of our RCs and combined RCs throughout the actual state itself. We primarily will reach out to CCC first and foremost. We would anticipate that they will reach out to Regional Commission, but we will do a full effort to make sure that all our bases are covered.
I think Pam's got something to add to that.
Yes, sir. Actually, we have, under the direction of Bob Nyers, a very detailed, thorough GIS department, and we already provide addressing and structures, layers, data collection for both unincorporated Glynn County and the city of Brunswick. So Lee Newton in the GIS office and now Aaron Brommel actually did the local update of census addresses for us. And then through our N4 software program, we're able to run a report for every project that has new COs. And then we'll reach out to the city and get their new COs, and then we'll provide that. So because of the amount of data that we have and the good data that we already have at the local level, we've been working directly with the census to get that to them. Now, because we're part of the Coastal Regional Commission, we do share that data with them so that they've got all the updated information as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you all working with CRC? It only makes sense to me that the different counties in the Coastal Regional Commission work with CRC. Otherwise, we're doing it and they're doing it.
Correct, and I will absolutely let Bob speak for himself. I will tell you that we have an amazing GIS department that keeps wonderful, just voluminous, detailed data on everything going on, and we provide that to them, but I can assure you that our GIS team for both the city and the county have done complete and thorough information.
Good.
What about the homeless count? Do we mobilize those folks to get out that are used to doing that, really almost annually, to get out and do a...
Yes, ma'am, and if I could share with you what we think our next steps are. City Manager Drum and County Manager Hours will get together with key staff, and we'll bring a recommendation to y'all. So far, and I'm just telling you my opinion, because we share so much data with the city, I think that a joint count committee makes the most sense. But we will bring that to you. We'll have, like Mr. Wright said, a list of typical stakeholders, and then over the summer we're going to be creating that. So we'll be putting out advertisement for people that are interested. We'll be making direct reaches out, and then by the end of summer, you all will be selecting who that committee is so that we can start training with them. So we'll start gearing up the actual committee itself in the early fall and getting them the training and doing that outreach. And the committee can be flexible. There's only a certain number you want before it gets a little unruly, but you can have people appoint special subcommittees and do some additional outreach to make sure we're getting in touch with everybody to have the most complete count.
Thank you, Pam.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
With unemployment being at about 3.5%, which is considered full employment, how are you going to find the people to take these positions? It's unlike the census 10 years ago where unemployment was pretty high.
So that's a fantastic question. We primarily want to hire individuals to work in Brunswick and Glynn County who live in Brunswick and Glynn County. However, we do have a mobile team that if we don't get enough resources, personnel within the area, we will utilize the mobile team.
Is the pay the same?
Yes. To the best of my knowledge.
Well, I mean, this guy likes to travel. I mean, he may want to go on a mobile
No
team.
vacation time.
But, I mean, we have so much underemployment. I don't think that would be, I mean, this is not full-time positions, correct?
It could be. It absolutely could be full-time.
But it could be part-time.
My recruiting staff will look at who applies and come up with the best method of hiring the individuals we can. If everyone ends up having to be part-time, they will be all part-time, and we can fill with full-time, then we'll fill with full-time.
Do you have an idea how many potential employees you'd like to see come from Glynn County before you have to use your mobile force? Do you have it? I mean, county our size, you have any idea?
I honestly think Glynn County will supply enough individuals within Glynn County. The question is whether or not Glynn County will have to cover down on neighboring counties more than anything else. I think Glynn will have enough people. At our projected pre-operation goal, we're at about 350% of employment here in Glynn County. Some of my neighboring counties, I'm not going to call any out, they don't necessarily have a great DOL, if they have a DOL at all. So they're lower. So.
All right, anybody got any commissioners have any more questions for Mr. Wright? Okay. Well, I guess we're educated, and we appreciate you coming to the presentation, and we'll make every effort we can to find everybody in Glynn County and get them counted.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Well, that is the only item on the agenda, so we're going to conclude and adjourn this meeting, and we'll start the county meeting at 3 o'clock sharp.